This is getting exciting because we're already almost finished with Leviticus. I always get excited when we're close to the end. There's only 27. The 25 is the long one, which we're about to read. And then it's on to the fourth book, which is Numbers. And Numbers is quite long. Let's see how long Numbers is. Ooh. It'll take us a while. 33 on Numbers. 35. How many books in Numbers? Ooh. 36. But anyways, we'll start with 25. Are we recording? Oh, yeah, okay. Phew. Dear Lord Jesus, please help us get a lesson out of this book today that we're reading, this Leviticus 25. And so what's happening today, Granger and Sarah, because I'm just going to keep reading the Bible to my kids, because like I said, I think they're probably the only ones that are going to watch this. But Granger was with nursing exam yesterday, and he missed passing by a point. So he is on academic probation. He's only got 2 months left to finish this course. And if he doesn't pass, we have to pay back all the money for the course. So I really need him to pass. And plus, it'll help him out. Huge. So he had to cancel the wedding, Shelby's wedding. He couldn't go, him and Bree. And they were very disappointed. But today I'm going to find those passages about not using foul language in the Bible and send it to him, because he's going to miss out on a lot of blessings with that foul language. Y'all have to teach your children not to use that foul language. I know I use it sometimes too. That's my fault, but that's not an excuse for you kids to use it. Okay. Sarah has started saying chips, oh ships, oh chips or something instead of the bad word, which is fine. Just don't use any bad word. There's nothing wrong with saying oh chips or oh ships. I think it's fine. But anyways, it was funny this morning. Sophie is at her school now. They're best friends. This is the year Sarah's in 4th grade. And they are having some gym day, indoor gym day today. And we had to find some shoes with white soles. So we did. But she is always happy to see Sophie. And Sophie's been spending the night a lot lately. They're becoming best friends, just like Granger and Martine were. And Granger and Sean. Okay, so there you go, kids. That's the moment in time. And the Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land which I give you, then the land shall keep a Sabbath to the Lord. 6 years you shall sow your field, and 6 years you shall prune your vineyard and gather its fruit. But in the 7th year there shall be a Sabbath of solemn rest for the land, a Sabbath to the Lord. You shall neither sow your field nor prune your vineyard. What grows of its own accord of your harvest you shall not reap, nor gather the grapes of your unattended vine, for it is a year of rest for the land. And we know that still that a lot of land is overworked, and then they continue to try to treat the soil so that they can work it. But he's saying that every 7 years, this land has to be left alone, right? And nowadays, even with all the different scientific processes they have to keep that land going, the best thing for it is just to leave it alone and let it rest for the whole year. Just leave it alone. And then get back to it, right? Because what does the earth do? The earth cleans itself up, right? The earth, that's how God made the earth. That's how he made everything. Just like when we eat and our body gets the nutrients out and then it cleans the food out and we go to the bathroom. Just like our ears producing earwax and our nose, everything on our body we're getting out the stuff we don't need in our body, and the blood cleanses itself. There's just all types of things in the whole world that God has made them to do that. So it's important that we listen to God. He made it. He knows how it works. And the Sabbath produce of the land shall be food for you, your male and female servants, your hired man and the stranger who dwells with you, for your livestock and the beasts that are in your land, and its produce shall be for food. So that year it's just for food for them. And you shall count 7 Sabbaths of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years. And the time of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be to you 49 years, right? So he's saying 7 times 7 is 49. So he's saying 49 years from now, then you shall cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the day of atonement you shall make the trumpet to sound throughout all your land. And you shall consecrate the 15th year and proclaim liberty throughout all the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you, and each of you shall return to his possession, and each of you shall return to his family. That 15th year shall be a jubilee to you. In it you shall neither sow nor reap what grows of its own accord, nor gather the grapes of your unattended vine. For it is the Jubilee. It shall be holy to you. You shall eat its produce from the field. In this year of Jubilee, each of you shall return to his possession. And if you sell anything to your neighbor or buy from your neighbor's hand, you shall not oppress one another. According to the number of years after the Jubilee, you shall buy from your neighbor, and according to the number of your crops, he shall sell to you. According to the multitude of years, you shall increase its price, and according to the fewer number of years you shall diminish its price. For he sells to you according to the number of years of the crops. Therefore you shall not oppress one another, but you shall fear your God, for I am the Lord your God. So you shall observe my statutes and keep my judgments and perform them, and you will dwell in the land in safety. He's saying you better follow these rules, because if you don't, and you don't oppress one another. Hold on one second. Okay. So you shall observe my statutes and keep my judgments and perform them, and you will dwell in the land in safety. Then the land will yield its fruit, and you will eat your fill and dwell there in safety. And if you say, what shall we eat in the 7th year, since we shall not sow nor gather in our produce, then I will command my blessing on you in the 6th year, and it will bring forth produce enough for 3 years. And you shall sow in the 8th year and eat old produce until the 9th year, until its produce comes in. You shall eat of the old harvest. So even then he's saying that's rotation, right? Eat up the old food first and preserve the other food, right? And that's what we do now. We always rotate, right? That we have dates on stuff. The land shall not be sold permanently, for the land is mine, for you are strangers and sojourners with me. And in the land of your possession you shall grant redemption of the land. If one of your brethren becomes poor and has sold some of his possession, and if his redeeming relative comes to redeem it, then he may redeem what his brother sold. Or if the man has no one to redeem it, but he himself becomes able to redeem it, Then let him count the years since its sale, and restore the remainder to the man to whom he sold it, that he may return to his possession. But if he is not able to have it restored to himself, then what was sold shall remain in the hand of him who bought it until the year of the Jubilee. And in the Jubilee it shall be released, and he shall return to his possession. If a man sells a house in a walled city, then he may redeem it within a whole year after it is sold. Within a full year he may redeem it. But if it is not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house of the walled city shall belong permanently to him who bought it throughout his generations. It shall not be released in the Jubilee. However, the houses of villages which have no wall around them shall be counted as the fields of the country. They may be redeemed, and they shall be released in the Jubilee. Nevertheless, the cities of the Levites and the houses of the Sethites of their possessions, and the Levites may redeem. And the houses of the cities of their possession, the Levites may redeem at any time. And if a man purchases a house from the Levites, then the house that was sold in the city of his possession shall be released in the Jubilee. For the houses in the cities of the Levites are the possession among the children of Israel. But the field of the common land of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. If one of your brethren becomes poor and falls into poverty among you, then you shall help him like a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with you. Take no usury or interest from him, but fear your God, that your brother may live with you. You shall not lend him your money for usury, nor lend him your food at a profit. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to give you the land of Canaan and to be your God. And if one of your brethren who dwells by you becomes poor and sells himself to you, you shall not compel him to serve as a slave. As a hired servant and as a sojourner he shall be with you, and shall serve you until the year of the Jubilee. And then he shall depart from you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own family. He shall return to the possession of his fathers. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as slaves. You shall not rule over him with your rigor, but you shall fear your God. And let's look up usury first, because hold on a second. The practice of making unethical or immoral monetary loans. So we know in the world today that happens a lot, right? I mean, it is unethical, and that's just like when he's talking about someone getting to redeem their house in a year. Because, like, some people, I'm just going to give an example. Let's say someone's husband dies or their spouse dies. A lot of people sell the house right away and then regret it. Or they think that they want to move to another location, and then they get there and they wish they wouldn't have, right? So a year is not that long, and I totally understand in related to my world today what God is saying here, but also overtaking advantage of people when they're poor. And we see this a lot. We even see it in the church where they're taking money from poor people who need their help. That's not the way the church is supposed to work. These people are supposed to fear God. But see what they do, instead of reading this in the Bible, they find that passage about the poor person giving, even though they're poor, and that means they gave more than anybody. If they can just give $1, if they can just give $5. And these poor people whose hearts are full of love for Jesus and easily influenced, right, do this out of love. But these people don't have any fear of God that's taking their money. Because God will lead these people to give when they have the money to give and to accept help when they have the money to accept help. Just because he explains about someone who gave that had nothing, that they did give more, doesn't mean that that's what everybody's supposed to do. That's just what he's explaining in this Bible. But a lot of greedy people take advantage of what Jesus says, and they will suffer from that sin. It's not right. So, anyways, if you have a family member, and I'm not talking about if somebody's on drugs, you can always give them food or whatever, but I'm talking about if you have a family member that's struggling and needs your help, you need to help them. Now, there's all kinds of situations where some people don't have the patience to have others in their home, then you need to help provide a place for them. But you're supposed to help. And you're supposed to willingly help and do it gladly because of the fear of having to deal with that sin that is in your heart, that you are not, you don't want to have that burden, Just follow God. Like it says in Sarah's little book, let him be your remote control. I like that. Okay. And as for your male and female slaves whom you may have from the nations that are around you, from them you may buy male and female slaves. Moreover, you may buy the children of the strangers who dwell among you and their families who are with you, which they beget in your land, and they shall become your property. And you may take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them as a possession. They shall be your permanent slaves. But regarding your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule over one another with rigor. Now if a sojourner or a stranger close to you becomes rich, and one of your brethren who dwells by him becomes poor, and sells himself to the stranger or sojourner close to you, or to a member of the stranger's family, after he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brothers may redeem him, or his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or anyone who is near of kin to him and his family may redeem him, or if he is able, he may redeem himself. Thus he shall reckon with him who bought him. The price of his release shall be according to the number of years, from the year that he was sold to him until the year of the Jubilee. It shall be according to the time of a hired servant for him. If there are still many years remaining, according to them, he shall repay the price of his redemption from the money with which he was bought. And if there remain but a few years until the year of the Jubilee, then he shall reckon with him, and according to his years he shall pay him the price of his redemption. He shall be with him as a yearly hired servant, and he shall not rule with rigor over him in your sight. And if he is not redeemed in these years, then he shall be released in the year of the Jubilee, he and his children with him. For the children of Israel are servants to me. They are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. I am your Lord. I am the Lord your God. So, obviously, at this time, we'll read 26 and 27 tomorrow for our last lesson. But people, there were different people, right? Lands of people. And some of these people were slaves. You have to have, even in today's society, you have the richer and the poor, those who own the companies and those who work for the companies. But you're still supposed to take care of these people. And just because back then it was slaves, these people were working for homes and food and money. I mean, they had stuff. They weren't just, now when Moses went to get God's people, they were being abused. These were people who were taking advantage of these people. They were basically prisoners, which is not the same as slaves back then. And, just like we're basically slaves to society, I'm working as a maid, right? I am the lowest one on the totem pole. I make the least amount of money. I mean, they buy equipment that costs more money. The cart that they buy me to work with costs more money than I get paid in a month, right? I get some benefits. I get some lower wages, but it's just like my position is that, right? And that was the same back then. You had slaves of hierarchy and lowerarchy. It's working for a land, right? Paying our taxes, and others are getting paid higher and lower. But you still have those who will try to take advantage of people, and that's with the cruel practices of taking money from people who you should not be taking money from, making taxes impossible to pay, all these types of things. Because basically right now, the way I'm working is I'm working for like $100 a month, because we get taxed 40% and they take away $350 from my husband's paycheck because I have a job. So I get paid $950 a month for working 20 hours a week. Well, after you take 40% and $350 off of that, I'm making like nothing, right? But I'm learning my Nederlands better, and I'm getting my exercise. And, it keeps me humble, and I enjoy it. And I won't do it for a very long time. But, so you see how that works. And that's why I say to my kids, get your education and do not go into debt. Even the reason why we aren't broke is because we aren't in debt. Otherwise, we would be broke. So you can't let shysters get you. But anyways, that is it, and we will finish it tomorrow or Monday. Have a good day.